I'd like to call to order the February 26, 2014 regular meeting of the village board. If you will stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I'd like Pastor Epperson to come forward and do the invocation.
Thank you for the honor of presenting the prayer tonight. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, tonight we obey the Scriptures as we pray for those in authority over the village of Monee. Paul the Apostle said to Timothy, the first thing that I want you to do is to pray. Pray every way you know how, for everyone that you know. Pray especially for rulers and their governments to rule well so that we can be quietly about our business and living simply in humble contemplation. This is the way our Savior, God, wants us to live. Tonight we pray also not only for the leaders here tonight, but also those who place themselves in harm's way, our first responders, our police, our firemen, and Will County Sheriff and his deputies. We pray that the churches of Monee Village and Township will have the same burden and passion for everyone as Paul the Apostle did for his fellow believers, that there would be a continued unity of the Holy Spirit to work together for good for all the people of this village and township. May we pray as Paul prayed for the church at Ephesus. Ever since I first heard of your strong faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and your love for God's people everywhere, I have not stopped thanking God for you. I pray for you constantly, asking God, the glorious Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, to give you spiritual wisdom and insight that you might grow in the knowledge of God. I pray that your hearts will be flooded with light so that you can understand the confident hope that he has given to those he called his holy people, who are his rich and glorious inheritance. I also pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's power for us who believe. This is the same mighty power that raised Christ Jesus from the dead and seated him in a place of honor at God's right hand in the heavenly realms. Now he is far above all rule and all authority or power or leader or anything else, not only in this world, but also in the world to come. God has put all things under the authority of Christ and has made him head over all things for the benefit of the church. And today we know that the church is his body. It is made full and complete by Christ, who fills all things everywhere with himself. So tonight we thank you, Jesus, for asking the Father to advance the Holy Spirit into this meeting room here tonight, so that correct decisions will be made to encourage, to strengthen, and uplift all residents of this great community. You want to do great and mighty things that we know not of, and you'd like to reveal them to us and accomplish your purpose. So tonight we pray and ask in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pop,
Here.
Rasick,
Present.
Gonzalez,
Here.
Gray,
Here.
Holston, and Horn.
Here.
Okay, this time we have open to the public, agenda items only. If you could limit your comments to about 3 minutes. Come to the podium, leave your name and address if you will. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Gonzalez and Razor. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pop,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Rasick,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Holston,
Yes.
and Horn.
Yes.
And at this point, we're going to go out of order a little bit. We have somebody to join us for our executive session, so we'll try to keep it as brief as possible. We will come back for the rest of the meeting as scheduled, but we have a lawyer in the room. We try to minimize the cost of that it imposes on the village. So I'll entertain a motion to go into executive, well, more than one attorney, I guess. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved. Second.
Holston and Razor. Yeah, this is pertaining to litigation and personnel, as indicated later on in the agenda.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Holston,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
and Raisik.
Yes.
Okay. We shall return. Thank you. Time is now 7:35. I'll entertain a motion to return from executive session.
Make that motion. Second.
Okay, Pop and Razor. Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Raisik,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
and Holston.
Yes. Okay. Moving to letter H, court's report.
All right, a couple of things here.
Mine wasn't.
We have a Monee PTO donation request. The Monee Elementary School PTO is having a candlelight bowl fundraiser, which will be held Saturday, March 15th. Proceeds from this event will be used to purchase much-needed equipment for the school. And then there's a form here, we can do it individually, or I can go
Yeah. Have the trustees had an opportunity to review this?
Is there anybody from PTO here? Isn't there's no PTO, right?
Just you.
Okay.
You're a diehard PTO work. What is the board's desire pertaining to donations and things of this sort?
I'll recommend we donate $100.
Second.
Okay, Warren, Holston, any discussion on that?
I think we can afford more than that, it's for education. I'd like to see us go to 200 myself. Whatever.
Does anybody want to amend the motion?
I'll amend that motion.
Well,
Two.
correct me on this.
If Mr. Trustee Horn would have to either amend the motion or withdraw the motion to increase it to 200. So what are you asking to
To the 200, because then we can get them.
What do we get extra for that?
Well, and that's why I asked if anybody from PTO was here, because we can do a cash contribution or donate gift certificates or merchandise to be used as a raffle. So if we're making that in the, $200, we can probably stipulate, we'd like to get some really nice gift certificates or something to include. Yeah?
So are you saying that we get the gift certificates or they use the cash to get gift certificates?
I think we should stipulate what we would
Okay.
rather, so we can put, thank you from the Village of Monee.
So this would be $200 of,
Either
a check for $200 or?
$200 for them to purchase nice raffle prizes and get purchased.
Understood. Is, trustee Horn, do you want to amend your motion for that purpose or not?
Sure.
I'll remove that. We can go with 200.
Okay. Trustee Holston, do you want to second that? Since you seconded it the first time?
I'll second.
Is that correct?
I'll second.
I think correctly, since it was,
You
Yeah.
can only have 1 second, basically.
We're spending a lot of money here, so I'll second for the schools, I'll second $200.
well, I think.
Go ahead, Mr. Holston.
Trustee Holston.
The same one as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first one. All right, fine.
Keep it clean.
So Horn,
Keep
Holston
it clean for now.
amended the motion to up the ante, at trustee Pop's recommendation to $200.
It's not here.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Raisik,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Holston, Horn,
Yes.
and Pop.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, Your Honor, you're aware of this, the Will County Governmental League has a Lobby Day, March 26th, which coincides with the regular board meeting.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got it right now. Let me see this. What is the desire of the board pertaining to, number one, attendance? I will state this, that I believe anytime we have an opportunity to go as a group to an event, it's important for us to have a show of force in support of things that are relevant to municipalities. Just this morning, I had a dialogue with a senator from Waukegan because he's pushing for legislation that would hinder our ability to manage our police department. He doesn't care about Monee, but he's influencing things that are affecting us and our police presence because it's a statewide legislation. So when we go as a group, we have more of a resounding voice. I'm not saying that everybody has to go, but I think it's important for us to be there and have a presence in these situations. There's a couple, Clerk Hazer has identified on here. There's the one on the March 26th with Will County Governmental League, and then on the, if I can go ahead, on IML has theirs on April 30th. In the past, the village has been a participant in those. I would like us to participate as much as you all are available. I will personally do everything I can to make sure it's an effective excursion, if you will, not just going on a trip and not really knowing who to see or what to do or whatever else. I think that's important, that we each have that point of influence. So I want to hear from the trustees on this.
Do they have an idea?
The legislative items?
Yeah.
Not at present, they're still working on that because there's constantly an influx of adjustments and modifications to the legislation that's going on down there. So at present, the last we checked, today, yesterday, Barb checked again today, they don't have their list yet, but there's constantly things, somebody's got this great idea about legislation that, and all of a sudden you find out that it helps one group, but it really hurts another. And we need to make sure that we represent the people of our community.
I believe there's a couple of bills right now, reading the IML letter the other day, that affect the real estate revenue for the communities that are going before the legislature right now that we would have particular interest in.
Sure, sure.
It would affect it negatively, unfortunately.
Well, typically it does. So, number one, I'd like to know, I would like to attend, and I would like as many of the trustees or the clerk or whoever else to attend as well. Anytime we have an opportunity like this to lobby on behalf of our concerns in our community, we need to do that. I'm not advocating for going out to Washington or anything like that. This is a trip to Springfield, but it's important for us. So, number one, can I get a show of hands of people that might be interested in going, of our trustees, to this?
I would be interested, Mayor, but I will be out of town.
Okay, thank you.
I personally cannot go for work-wise. I mean, I've been there before. I already know my work schedule. And pertaining to this, talk about this, if we do decide not to have this March 26th meeting, I already know I'm going to be out of town for our March 12th meeting.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've been to these, and if we get the right person, and we do get the right time, it is worth our while, but I personally cannot be down there where my work is.
Understood.
So.
Understand. So,
I'll say,
okay, so trustee Horn, trustee Holston,
assuming that we cancel the meeting.
of course. Trustee Gonzalez, are you, okay, trustee Raisik, are you,
Not going to work.
okay. Clerk Hazer, are you available for that as well, or?
Maybe.
Okay, that's fine. Just so I have a general idea, because we need to figure out what accommodations we need to make if necessary on that. But so at this point then, the second part of that is I'll entertain a motion to cancel the March 26th meeting based on that.
I make that motion.
Okay, Pop and Holston. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
I don't know, can we wait to see if,
At least three of us are going to be, well, trustee Pop will be out of town as well, so four of us will be gone if those.
Well, here's, I believe, if I may add on to what you're saying, are we for sure gonna be able to get there? I understand you, Mayor, can get there.
Sure.
Um,
It's not saying can't
what Trustee
meet,
Hyde
that's
or
fine,
Trustee
too.
Gonzalez is saying is, can we table the motion to cancel the 26th meeting to March 12th, 2 weeks prior to it, to be sure that the people that are saying are gonna be able to get there, can get there. So,
And, you know, what's to prevent us from having a meeting that evening, because I don't know.
You have to have the majority of the
Correct,
to have a
correct.
meeting.
But I don't know, is it gonna be, you're gonna be gone all day that day?
yes, they would be for sure.
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 hour drive. It
But
depends on the
I
drive.
believe adding on
It's
hers,
not the coffee day, it's the 30 p.m. We'll need session till 3:30.
I would agree with Trustee Gray. I think we could probably wait until the 12th to cancel, but in concept, I'm planning on attending.
okay.
If we cancel that meeting, if we have to have a special meeting another time, I can do that. I don't mind having another meeting.
Well, and when we cancel like the November, December 2nd meetings because of holiday conflicts and all that, we've had other special meetings if necessary to accommodate the business of the village. I'm not opposed to that either. And we'll deal with that on.
Can we wait until the 12th
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think anybody, did somebody make a motion on that?
I did make a motion, I'll resend that.
Because nobody seconded it, correct?
to?
So do we want to, we got a motion and a second, do we want to just simply table till next meeting? That'll be fine, so I have a second to table the meeting.
I'll second that.
To, tabled by trustee Gonzalez, seconded by trustee Gray. And we need a roll call on the table. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I understand.
Let's get the verbs right.
Trustee Gray,
Yes?
Holston, Horn,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Raisik,
Yes.
and Gonzalez.
Yes.
Okay. That's fine, so the next on the item there, Clerk Hazel, please. Number 3.
I thought you were just including that in the same
Well,
discussion. It's this year's IML lobby day on Wednesday, April 3rd.
right, which I don't believe that one conflicts with our schedule. Show of hands on that for people that may be available to go to that lobby day. Trustee Holston? Okay, possibly. Okay. Trustee Raisik, was that a maybe, you're not sure? Probably no?
No.
Okay. Trustee Horner, you also possibly available at 30?
More, that one would be more likely.
More than likely, no?
More than likely.
Okay, that's fine. And that's fine, it's, that's not conflicting with the scheduled meeting, so that's not, crucial thing there, just want to make sure that we're aware of that and do the options there. So, I would probably go, and trustee Olson, if you're available, trustee Bob, if you can change your schedule or whatever. Okay, anything else, sir?
Yes, sir, we've got a last minute memo from the Senior Services Center in Joliet looking for a donation. They're thanking us for our past financial support, and they're looking for a $500 contribution.
Going towards,
If we pass a copy of this, this is brand new.
That just came in.
You want to read it to the board so they understand the entirety of what they're asking for?
Dear Mayor and Village Trustees, is enclosed is an overview of the programs and services that our agency provided to the older adults of our community during 2013. We provided services to 673 seniors in Monee in 2013. According to the 2010 census, rural county 60-plus population increased by 64%. We see this in the increased demand for our services. Our state and federal funding cannot meet the needs of this program. Local support is essential in providing this service. I thank you for your past financial support of our agency and urge you to continue your financial assistance in the amount of $500. Thank you for your consideration. Please feel to contact me, Patrick Hensley, Executive Director.
Now, I don't know
Patricia.
I don't know that we have funded that in the past specifically. They indicate that we have. I know we haven't had a chance to review this because it just came in, so I'm not inclined to have a vote on it tonight.
I can put that on the agenda for next.
And Darrell, if you would, review our history on that to find out what we
Who is
have
this
done.
again?
This is the Will County Senior Services out of Joliet. And the other thing I'm curious about, when they say they serviced 673 seniors in Monee in 2013, I'm curious if that's Village of Monee or if that's the broader township.
And I'm betting that's not unique seniors.
The number of those services are done out of St. Paul's Church here in
A
town,
lot of
including the food. And I think what we would like to have, Darrell, yeah, please do check, but what happened this time last year was the state funding did not come through.
right.
And so they were forced with a situation where if they had not got money, they would have had to quit feeding the seniors 1 day a week. And so a number of people in the community, both private individuals and public, Monee Township was one, we were one, helped to sustain that by making donations. So I'd like to have that checked, because if that's what the situation is, I would consider that an emergency and would like to see it move very quickly. Otherwise, those people are not going to get fed 5 days a week.
And additionally, the relevance of presenting this for a lobby-related issue down in Springfield, if they cut funding for a specific reason, you know, it doesn't mean that it needs to necessarily come out of the village per se. I'm not saying we can't throw our support behind it, but if there's a correction that needs to take place in Springfield, we should go back to that as well.
Mr. Mayor, the reason for that was because the federal money had been delayed, and they were waiting on the federal money, which over the last 2 or 3 years has happened several times. And it was like April, May before the money was received, which meant that they didn't have enough money to feed the seniors.
Sure.
So,
I would like, I agree, and we're not gonna vote on it this particular meeting, we'll put it for the next meeting for a review. So Darrell, if you could fact check our history of what our payments have been to that organization. Barb, if I could ask you to clarify the 673 seniors, if those are actually Monee Village residents, or if that's the greater township area. I'm just for informational purposes. So. Okay.
That's the end of my report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, under the mayor's agenda, we have the Culver sales tax rebate request. Now, this has been a discussion we've had back and forth. We have received the predominant information that we had requested from them. And based on the information we have, they have, it looks like a third of their employees are Monee residents, just as an informational on that. And so they've given us the other information, and other information that the clerk's office has requested. So I know there's been some discussion pertaining to the consistency of following the agreement. And I don't know if we need to have discussion, if somebody wants to make a motion in one form or another pertaining to this. Probably do need to have some clarity on that, but what is the board's wishes on this?
we have agreement with them that we signed.
Right,
They've honored their side of the agreement, we need to honor ours.
if they have.
I thought you said.
They provided us information, we've requested it was relevant for moving it to the board for the information that was requested a month and a half ago or whatever regarding the list of employees and their sales tax information. However, the clarity of whether they use, the agreement specifically stipulates that they're to use Monee contractors when they're doing their development. They did not.
It did not say they would use it, it said they would consider it and would bid it.
Okay.
So I think probably within the intent, we push this as far as we should push it. I would move that we make the payment.
And I too, and like we stated at the last meeting too, that this is something we have to learn from and we need to have, if we have any further development agreements, we need to put it in writing ahead of time before we at the last minute, put that in.
All the caveats that if they,
They've
right.
done their job for
Sure.
this one, we have to run.
Fine. Second. All right, so did I have, so was it Olson made the motion? And Bob?
Great point, quick.
Always.
Gets his business. So Olson moved, seconded by Pop. Any other discussion on this? Good. All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Holston? Warren?
Yes.
Pop?
Yes.
Raisik?
Yes.
Gonzalez? And Gray.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just to clarify, I know that the original request that had been tabled from a month and a half ago indicated as long as they're consistent with following the agreements, the practice has been in the past that it doesn't necessarily have to come to the board as long as they consistently follow the practice. So unless there's a variation that needs scrutiny by the board regarding this, does the board want this to come back before them each time, or to just simply let it be managed through the finance office?
Are you talking?
For Culvers, yes, this is still pertaining to Culvers.
I think that was called.
Yeah,
Just let the finance department deal with it from here out, it's fine. I just want to make sure. All right, so can I get do I need a vote on that, or is it?
Mayor, if I may, you may want to just advise the board when payments being issued, because your auditors might request the
Sure.
same too. So I would think that'd be in your audit report, right?
That'll be part of the consent agenda at the time in which it takes place. Okay. Okay. So does that require a vote, or just a simple acknowledgement? Fine. All right, thank you. Number 2, under my agenda is the discussion and approval of the ICSC convention for 2014. Barb, if you would be so kind to come forward and provide us with the information you gathered.
Good evening. In your packets, there's the breakdown for the RECOG ICSC convention that you asked for from the previous meeting.
Could you give me the dates on that again?
May 18th through the 20th. But there is some time to set up the booth and everything, so some of the other municipalities are going around the 17th to the 21st.
you had to break down the booth too,
Well, we may have to,
so it could be a 4-day venture.
depending on what time it ends on the 20th, if people stay around sometimes.
By the time it's over here,
Right.
So
so she's got the breakdown there on this.
So
And
one
there's
more
a
question.
breakdown of 1, 2, 3, or 4, how many people at the bottom, how many people.
Right, so the question, so the dates you just gave us, 18th through the 20th, this is what the breakdown is for 3 days.
This is just by day,
Okay.
1 day. No, the 429, no, it's for the 3 days, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's 3 days.
The breakdown is a 3-day.
It's the 3-day,
Okay.
18th, 19th, and 20th. And then if we had to,
Stay, or, yeah, if you go 4 days.
right.
But it's-
That's why I put approximate.
And there again, if there's 2 guys going, they can stay in a room together. 2 girls going, they can stay in a room together, whatever, just to save money.
Drive. Save money.
I think that would cost more.
We take more time off work.
So, I know it was presented at the last meeting, the consideration for trustee Holston to be one of the participants in going. He subsequently has indicated that due to work conflicts, he's not able to go. So I'm wanting to know if any of the other trustees are wanting to go and be a part of this. And specifically, what your wishes are for this. I know there's been a reservation about this. We're trying to figure that we're trying to do a co-op on this like we do a lot of other things, where we minimize our raw costs on things. I think effectively, our first time out there and everything else, but I would say ideally, 3 people is a good thing, because we want to maintain a certain stage presence, if you will, at the booth, but at the same time, be able to go out and interact outside the booth with the other developers and such. So,
There's several workshops going on
sure.
during all of this too, so having 3 people where you have 2 people in the booth in case one has to leave or what have you, or you get overrun by people who want to come to Monee, hopefully. And then having another person being able to attend the workshops and see, what they
And
have
these are
to
going to be long
offer.
days on the show floor as well.
Mhm.
So, should I go around, I know Trustee Holson, I know you indicated you're not able to go.
No, I think the IML and some of the meetings I want to attend here is a little are going to be more important, and my time is limited, and I've got a responsibility.
I understand it. Trustee Raisik, are you?
The work.
Trustee Pop?
I think I was one that kind of questioned it. Without some economic development, I just felt that we should maybe wait for another year or 2 to do this. But I also understand that we need to get out there and push it,
Build relationships and all
kind
that.
of on the fence with it.
I understand. But are you personally able to go?
I probably am available.
Okay.
Don't know that I want to. That's my point.
Well, first of all,
I'll tell you what,
if somebody's going to go, we want to have a
I
happy
lean
face.
towards whatever the board feels, if it's important enough. Some voiced opinions that we're not ready for this yet. I'm kind of leaning that way,
I understand.
so I
Understand.
could make myself available.
Okay. I understand that. Trustee Horn?
It's a bad time for me.
Trustee Gonzalez?
I am opposed to this. Like, Jim, I do not think we are ready for this one. I think if we, get our feet wet at Navy Pier, I think that's more than adequate for this year. We don't have any materials at all.
Trustee Gray?
I'm absolutely against going out there, especially if we go 4 days, it just bumps up this figure. I mean, this cost that we're looking at right now is ridiculous. People talk about IML here in Chicago, to go to Vegas. People already thought that they feel that we are wasting tax dollars to go to IML. Go all the way out to Vegas is
Well, I
a
won't,
very bad idea. Person cannot go.
yeah, and I won't dispute that in some
No, that's
cases,
fine.
I won't dispute in some cases that going to IML for some officials may be a waste of taxpayer dollars. But it all depends on how effective you are.
No, I completely, no, I'm just saying in
Right.
the public's eye,
I get it.
that's all.
Because we got
So,
all perceptions.
if they complain that we go to Chicago for 3 days for whatever, ballpark $1,000, $1,500, they figure to go out to Vegas for 3, maybe 4 days.
Well, the cost of the airfare is going to be the same.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm
So
saying.
just, the original question was, would I be involved or no?
Clerk Hazer, would you be available if we needed somebody to go as well? or-
Could make this.
Okay. I need a recommendation from the board on how to proceed with this. We've gone as far as we can without making any further commitment to this. And,
I think a couple thoughts. One is that, again, I'm a big believer in economic development. I think it's something we need to work with. I think we have to mitigate that with the cost of 3 people going to be, that is excessive. I think we should do it with 2
okay.
this time because we aren't prepared. Number one. Number two, I think that the front office here right now is a little short-handed, and to send anybody out of the office here right now is not a good idea. I think that if we have a presence there, it ought to be, of course, you as the mayor and possibly somebody who has business interests and a business background. That's primarily what we're trying to do here. Clerk Hazer has that background. With this particular background I'm aware of, it might be more suited if we do send 2 people to that route. I believe we've paid some of this already, haven't we?
We have
How much have we paid?
2,000.
So the biggest chunk of this has already been paid. My opinion is we probably ought to send 2 people instead of 3 this time. And next year, if we see a valid reason, if we see something out of this and look at doing that, if we hadn't paid the 2,000 already, I might think otherwise, but we have paid the 2,000. So, try to see what we can do out of that. Probably my best guess.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Or do we need to entertain a motion of some sort?
If you look at the membership registrations that they've been paying,
There have been some, and those have been used, which are not tied specifically to this event, but other things that they have involved for economic development things and things of that sort.
I'm guessing we're only.
You're talking about the 531 there, those,
Yeah.
that's optional. And if we're only having two, I'm thinking it's probably not relevant to pay the optional if we're only having two go on there. Because we're gonna have a limited exposure, and we need to focus on developing as many relationships and contacts while we're out there if we can. That's provided the board, sees fit to move forward with it.
I have the advantage over probably some of the trustees, because I was thinking about going, I did get some information on the conference itself. There's a lot of good things going out there. But I just think that we need to really limit our exposure this year, because as Trustee Gonzalez said, we're not prepared.
Sure.
But I would think at this point, for about $2,000 additional, which we've already spent $2,000, for another $2,000, we could probably send two people, and I would be inclined to be in favor of that at this point. But I don't think we want to go much more further than that.
So is that in the form of a motion? Do I need to, Larry?
I'd make that a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Pop?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
No.
Gray?
No?
And Holston?
Yes.
Okay. Point taken. We need to continue to develop our skills and our toolkit, if you will. So, if I could, Barb, while you're up here, you had something else you wanted to address?
Just an update on the website, we're moving along. I've spent quite a bit of time going through different websites and picking out all the different topics for each of the pages and the content that we're looking to put in there. I'm a firm believer in not recreating the wheel, so I've gone through several websites and cutting and pasting text that some of the other well-established websites already have to move this further along. So we're moving along.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I, Barb, before you sit down, can I just go back to this ICSC? So now if the motion has passed and we agree that maybe two of us are going out there. So now, what are we taking with us? Are we gonna have to have additional costs then to get marketing materials and hotel information and stuff published to get to take along about Monee to this convention?
Well, we are gonna have to get some stuff printed out.
That's all I need to know, thank you.
So that's regardless of whether we go out there or not.
Right, we're gonna have to do that. That's just something we need to do.
Thank you. Nothing further for me, Larry?
Thank you, Mayor. I got a couple items for the board's review and consideration. I received a request from Mark and Nancy Moster, not a request, but I received information from them. They are present tonight. They are in the same situation as the gentleman was, I want to say about a month and a half ago. What they're trying to do is refinance in some property that they own in Monee right now. It's a legal non-conforming use. It appears as though the property is being used for residential purposes, but their lender is requesting a letter from the village, or a variance for that matter, indicating that if it was destroyed more than 51%, they would still be allowed to use the site as the same residence as it is right now. This is the same situation as the gentleman did, I want to say, 6 weeks ago. I believe Mr. Grooverman a while ago furnished a letter that satisfied the previous mortgage company. The new lender, who that might be, I'm not sure, did not accept that letter. So what they're asking us to do is for some assistance in that request. A variance hearing, you know, it's sort of a costly proposition. I believe the variance application is $500. They're not looking to put up any type of new structure or put up any type of fence, which is usually required, but they're asking that the village consider some type of relief in respect of, I believe, drafting a letter to indicate that if the property was destroyed more than 50%, that residence would be used, still be allowed to use for residential purposes.
How does that differ from the variance, Mark?
Pardon me?
How does that differ from a variance?
Variance, it says, under law, variance is what they call an undue hardship, which was not created by them, which they would qualify for. I think one of the situations with the variance is that there's a public hearing, so the residents would know, the immediate residents within 150 feet would know what the property is going to be used for. But a variance under law says it's a situation where there's an undue hardship which was not created by the applicant, which in this situation, they did not create that situation.
Well, and part of the difficulty there is because that whole area is zoned commercial, and that's conforming, that's an issue of our, Mark, Nancy, what is the duration of the note that you're looking to secure? Because I don't think the village is going to be inclined to probably write a variance that's going to be in perpetuity of the property because of the zoning, but a letter that would say that if it were destroyed, et cetera, you know, for the life of the mortgage. Yeah.
15-year one.
Okay, so if we could, so does that make sense? So that if we were to say something of that sort, so they can secure the note that they need, is the board in favor of drafting a letter that basically allows them to get a mortgage on that non-conforming use, stipulated that it would be not to exceed the 15, 20 years, 15, whatever the case may be, of the note, so that we're not stuck trying to, you know, constantly pigeonhole all these things that are zone commercial and, you know, re-navigating things that were part of a comprehensive plan.
Is that the exact language that you used for the previous one?
I didn't write the ordinance I did of the previous gentleman, but the previous letter I didn't draft it. That was Mike Krugman, which is what, probably 10, 12 years ago, so I'm not sure.
Well,
I know they sent it to me, but I didn't see it.
But the letter we did a couple, 2 months ago.
They went
That was a
through the whole
variance.
plan, they won't be.
Yeah, we went through the whole process where the gentleman came up and indicated that he's refinancing without that variance ordinance, and that's probably the safest for an applicant. But we did go through the entire process for that. I think he was a fireman.
Yeah, correct. So I'll entertain a motion from the board to have Larry draft a letter of something to the extent that, what would wording be on that, Larry, that not to exceed the term of the note, the 15 years of your note, something like that.
If it's all right with the mayor and the board, a motion authorizes me to draft a letter for the board's review and consideration. And then you could take a look at it. Mr. and Mrs. Master, you don't have a time frame involved right now, do you, for refinancing?
Would it be at the next meeting then? 2 weeks?
More than likely, yes. ma'am.
That'd be great.
So moved.
Second.
Holston and Raisik. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Pop,
Yes.
Raisik,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Holston,
Yes.
and Horn.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is that we are in discussions, Ruben has helped, same with DJ, with Graylar Development. We're trying to install a water line to the property out near that site. There's some discussion with respect to the cost, who's going to pay for the cost. It's in a TIF district, so there's some TIF money available for that. I have not heard back from Mr. Brown. I hopefully will too tomorrow. But they've been in the village since 2005. If the board recalls, I think we did discuss about installing a water main. The exact timing for that, I'm not sure. When's going to go off for bid, there's got to go off for bid. But that would service that area out there. But we are asking for a contribution from Graylar.
And the question is whether it's front-loaded as we previously thought it was going to be, either $24,000, I believe it was there. The issue is, if it would be front-loaded like we expected it was gonna be, they had some indication because of a letter that they received from
Yeah.
Grooverman, I believe it was.
Yes, sir, if I may, that's a good point. It appears though in 2005, there was some discussion with Graylar, and at that time, Mr. Grooverman, the administrator, about what the intentions of the village were. And the letter basically summarized the meeting in which it indicated that utilities more than likely would be installed to the site. No, that has not taken place. So we have asked for a contribution from Mr. Larson and Mr. Graham, I'll come up with Graylar. Yeah, and they're hesitating. They believe some interest doing the notes. We are in discussions with them, but like the mayor indicated, there was some previous correspondence, you're going back probably 8 years ago, about installing a main, which we haven't had the capability. There hasn't been a lot of development out there, but now there is some money in the TIF fund to do that. But we're asking for a contribution from them in the amount of $24,000.
Okay.
So,
One consideration I know has been thrown out there would be to simply adjust the expected agreement on that, whereas if they're not gonna front load it, you know, they're gonna pay the 24 up front, then because they may not have the money available to them right now because of other infrastructure things they're being required to do with internal in their building, say over the next 3 years, that be deducted from their TIF payouts. And, you know, just pace it out that way. And if the board's acceptable with that, I'd like to get this off center because Chief Nealon really needs to have a definitive on this because he's ready to lock him out of the building almost. You know, and I don't want to see that happen to any of our businesses. You know, we have a desire to bring it down there. There's reasons why it will be beneficial to other businesses in the area. I think that if we can have the board consent, I'll have Larry simply address it on that matter, because let's just get it done.
that's a good point, Mayor. I believe their annual payouts are one of the smaller ones that we have. I want to say ballpark $20,000. So what we're indicating, take some of that money each year until it's satisfied.
And then work out the interest issue at another,
Yes.
you know, at the end of which is what we expected was going to be the end.
Yes, sir.
And any recapture fees that may have been tied to the previous agreement would be taken off then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I get a motion to move forward with that?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, Gray and Raisik. Roll call, please.
Trustee Racick,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Olston. Yes. Warren. Yes. Duff.
Yes.
One question.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
DJ, do you know when this can go out for bid, or do we have an idea?
We'll need to put the proposal together and then just get it out for bid for springtime and stuff.
Installation-wise, how long would that take? Do you know?
For the project, I didn't see the actual bid as to how long they were going to set that for
Okay.
how many days. I can't see that
Okay.
more. I can't see it taking longer than a month. to do.
A month?
I couldn't see it taking longer.
After we get the bid out and everything. Cool.
And the last item I have is an ordinance prohibiting the excessive use of braking systems within the village of Monee. I believe Chief Stipka has been taking a look at this. Basically, it's for semi-trucks, engine braking, also known as Jake braking, I believe. Unless it's an emergency situation, they will be prohibited from doing so. I believe there's some discussion about, in this ordinance, I designated a few streets, mostly Monee Manhattan Road and Cleveland Avenue, and Monee Manhattan and Governor's Highway. And it appears as though there's some sentiment to make this restrictive throughout the entire village, so the entire borders. The fine, if someone is found guilty, strike that. If the company's found guilty, it's not less than $75, no more than $750 per offense. And again, this is only effective if it's an emergency situation, you know, that's a valid excuse to use that type of braking. If not, then that company could be liable for this, a violation of the ordinance.
If I could, before we have it, DJ, do you mind I know we talked briefly about the potential costs and some other things for signage and all that. I want to make sure the board's fully aware of that. Do you have anything you want to share?
Actually, because of the way this had stated, I want to make sure a couple extra rules were added to that, but if we're going to do it village-wide, what I want to make sure is that there's special signs already designed where you can get a discount if the high-intensity sign is to the wording, and if you wanted to specify excessive engine braking noise is prohibited, that may be a custom sign that has to be designed versus just a standard sign that is printed in.
No engine braking sign might be a lot
Yeah,
simpler.
it may just be worded a little different, so if you'd like, I can look into the actual
Can we just table it until the next meeting?
high-intensity signs.
To make sure the
Get
ordinance is done
evaluation,
right.
we're gonna do it village-wide, they can be posted for entry points on the village signs, and then along with like the snow parking on Village Street, that includes snowfall, and it'll kind of cover as people are entering.
Why would we want to wait for this?
Yeah.
Well, just make sure the wording is correct. So
We
there's
know it's
not
gonna
a-
get passed, so.
This is not a, this has nothing to do with the signs.
We're gonna pass it.
Well, I think the ordinance has nothing to do with what we're having here. Look at this.
Right,
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
it's the ordinance, the verbiage on the
It's
sign.
even written right now on this. It's
Well,
gotta be written.
line 35 says the sign has to say,
Excessive engine braking noise is prohibited.
And that's what I'm saying, is if there's standardized signs and it's pertaining to the ordinance, it makes sense to,
What does the standardized sign say?
we don't
That's
know.
what I want to look into, and discuss this with you.
All right.
So, all right, so if it's okay, I know this is a ready to roll kind of a thing. But if it, yeah, and Trustee Raisik, thank you for moving forward with this, and this is good. I like to see that initiative and everything.
And just for the record, I've talked, since I saw this on the agenda, I've talked to a couple of owners of trucking businesses. They have no objection to this at all. I've talked to several that are owners of major trucking companies that come into Monee because they come into my facility,
Sure.
and they're fine with that.
And then I'm not real sure, but DJ, you might also check in with IDOT to see if they, what the provision is on the exit ramps. Do they have a provision for, I know like when I was up on 294 earlier today, I saw a couple exits, they have them right at the exit.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, I was gonna suggest, why don't we take down the hands-free cell phone sign since it's irrelevant anymore and play lights in there? Because there's one on Court, two on 50,
Well,
and one on.
Fourth Street's a no truck zone anyway, so kind of a moot point, I'd rather get them as they're entering the village, because as Creek Monee Road is a truck route, it's a little center, they could still engine brake there, which affects a lot of the residents over there. And that wasn't on the original ordinance as it was drafted, so I was concerned about Bridgeland Avenue, since that wasn't on there. Will Center Road and Creek Monee Road is being added, but if we're gonna redefine the boundaries of where the engine braking is going to specify, that changes things. Let's get a standardized sign that I can get at a good cost, and then we can keep the cost down rather than adding more posts, more signs, more scenery.
Do I have any objections to just putting it until table or the next meeting? A motion to table? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to table that till the next meeting. Motion.
Second.
Raisik and Horn. Okay.
Trustee Gonzalez? Gray?
Yes.
Holston? Yes. Horn? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
And Raisik?
Yes.
Okay. And under the officials report, Ruben?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to defer at this point to Chief Sitcar. He's got some things he wants to present.
Okay.
We've spoken before about the Special Olympics event coming up, and hopefully everybody's aware that the Polar Plunge is happening this weekend. We've been doing some fundraising, and my co-chair, Sergeant Kruka, has been doing the bulk of that for me, and he's been doing an outstanding job. And we went from just me being the only person jumping in to having an actual team of people jumping in. So Sergeant Kruka, if you could step up and let the folks know what fundraising is going on and how we're doing.
The fundraising came from most of the businesses in town. I did not go to every business, however, I had a lot of help from Officer Cancelosi and Officer Cash. And between the three of us, we went from Chief Sipcar $75, we're actual money in hand right now, we're at $2,815. And our goal is 3,000, and I still got some more pledges that I gotta pick up by Friday. So I'm pretty confident we'll be well over the $3,000 mark. And that's due to most of the businesses in town. However, I did have a little 5 or 6 year old child today give me $6 for jumping in the water and freezing. So we will take any amount that we get. You can make donations at the village hall, at the police department. It's on the marquee out front. And we got the torch run coming up, tip of cop, cop on top. We have a few more activities planned to raise money for the special.
And you got apparel that you guys are gonna be selling as well at some point, or you?
I have apparel I will be selling at tip of cop, cop on top. The polar plunge, if anybody here ever been to one of those? The one in Mantino?
My son's doing it too.
Okay, it's quite amazing. I mean, you're gonna have close to 1,000 people. I mean, they tailgate, they bring heaters out there in the sand, and I mean, it's quite an event. I mean, they spend a lot of time out there, they put a lot of energy, and a lot of money goes to Special Olympics because of it. And that is not actually the place for me to try to get a table out there to try and sell merchandise. It's
Sure.
But we do have merchandise available. You can stop by the police station, see me. I do have hats, shirts, pins. But a lot of that, so when we do the top on cop, or cop on top, tip of cop, we will display it there and sell it there.
Sure, great.
So, but like I said, we'll take any donations, any amount, large or small, I don't care. Like I said, the smallest one was for my little 5-year-old buddy today for $6, and I've had as high as $400, so.
So how many of our officers, the blue team?
6 of us.
6.
It's the leader, Chief Sipcar, myself, Teresa Cancelosi, Brent Cash, Chad Blake, Steve Perseni, next one.
That's great.
You gonna be wearing Speedos?
Actually, I offered, see, it's nice physique, I was gonna put on the Speedo, but then I figured people's eyes would hurt. So I told the chief the other day I was gonna paint myself from the top up red, from the top down white, and I was gonna go as a bottom. I actually had a shape for a bottom. Then I actually thought about a hula skirt and coconut bra. And if you've ever been, have you been to them before?
Yeah, just one, yeah.
You see a lot of people, guess what they do?
Sure.
They let their hair down, they get crazy,
And there are Speedos, though,
you know, they have all sorts of outfits out there. And it's a good time, everything's for a good cause.
So let me clarify, I know Jimmy Fallon is making a big debut in Chicago on Sunday, but he's doing it, and he's not following the rules on that, is he?
I don't know, we can't wear wetsuits or any.
Exactly.
Oh, he's in a wetsuit.
Probably.
Yeah, no, it's right in the rules, no wetsuits, no.
And how many inches of ice is out there in the
It's
lake?
18 inches of ice right now, and they're supposedly cutting it free Friday.
And we're expecting another foot of snow this weekend, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The winds are also shifting, and the ice is coming.
Well, I was kind
To
of
the
hoping
beach.
that they cancel it because of weather, but I don't think the cold's going to scare them away. So, but like I said, it's for a good cause, for the guys to have a good time, and it's there for everybody to come see.
So what time do we need to show up to cheer you guys on?
Registration's from 12 to 2.
Okay?
So it's going to be going anywhere from 12 to probably last people out of the water because they do groups at a time. 3, 4 o'clock.
So are we gonna have the Monee Police Calendar Edition? That'll be the first photo of that?
But we do have a photographer coming down to take pictures. It's going to be Chief's wife and my wife, but one of them are going to be the official picture taker. And there'll be plenty of photos to hang at the station.
Great. I gotta tell you, I'm thrilled to see that we have employees in our community the care. And, you know, Sergeant, it's been really neat to just get to know you a little bit more and see just the way you interact with the kids and different things like that. It's great.
I've done the DARE program for a lot of years, so,
I know.
you know, interacting with the kids is not new.
I know. So I'm just saying, I think it's great. You know, a lot of times people think, oh, you know, the employees, you know, if it's not in the paycheck, they're not gonna deal with it kind of thing. But we got some great people in our community. Our officers are phenomenal. Chief, if, you know, even bring up about the friendly competition we have with the fire department.
Sergeant, thank you, you're doing a great job. Please go do some work now.
Okay.
Paid for sitting long enough. The blood drive, we co-sponsored with the fire department. Our friendly competition is who was going to bring more people to the blood drive. And essentially, we didn't really care who won as much as that we did it. The year before, 22 people dropped off a pint of blood. This past year, 57 did. When everything was said and done, 29 people signed on our side, 23 signed on the fire department side. So we walked away with bragging rights this year, and probably we'll do the same thing next year. We're going to continue to do these programs to the best of our ability, and hopefully, you know, we'll build on it every year.
Yeah. And of course, I do have to give a special mention to Trustee Olson, who I don't want to say half, but a good portion of those, I'm not sure what the exact number was, but you had 27 of your employees came up. That's great. That's great. Even though some of them, you know, gave blood to the red side instead of the blue side, you know, whatever, it's all good. And we had a lot of fun with it. So.
Very quickly, Chief, I just want to tell you thank you. I appreciate you guys have a hard goal. Usually, police officers are the last ones that we're here today. Usually they get cussed out. That comes with the territory, but the bottom line is you guys and gals are doing an awesome job. Thank you. Mayor, very quickly, I just want to touch on two things. One is coming up is Easter, April 20th. My understanding is in past years, the village has sponsored an Easter egg hunt event. This year, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're partnering with local area churches. The churches have asked to play a role, and in fact, Living Creek would like to spearhead an Easter egg hunt. On Saturday, April 19th, we want to host a pancake breakfast. Details will follow. I don't have everything yet.
Sure.
It's all coming to, it's in the works as we speak. But April 19th, that morning, will be a pancake breakfast, then followed by an Easter egg hunt over at our park building in Apartments Park area. The churches will provide pretty much everything. The village will assist with the building in any other way we can.
Sure.
How to make it a worthwhile event. The second thing I wanted to talk about was...
Are we still gonna have snow on the ground then?
It's good for the hunt.
Yeah, sure.
The second thing is the sound equipment. We talked about infrastructure, and it's one of many things we're wanting to do. But on our immediate radar is upgrading a sound system over for our Fall Fest, Kids Day, Halloween event, and whatever else that we may do new this year. But over at the football field where we have this PA system that's in place now, which is outdated, dilapidated, some issues, we want to put a warning system in, controlled by 4 zones, so in the event we are hosting a Fall Fest at the football game, we've got a tornado come in on its way, an Amber Alert, whatever, the system that we're looking to put in would override any other system that's in place, and we can put out the directions as needed according to that situation. So that would be at the concession stand. Moving over towards the Creamery building, we would like to start not only hosting our movies in the park as we did last summer, but building upon it, movies in the park for children, for adults, and then also hosting music in the park, where we would have concerts throughout the summer on Saturday afternoon, where we can use the Creamery platform, have bands, local bands there. We've already have some bands that are committed to play for free, just the opportunity to do that. something that's different, something that would be new, fresh for the community. But it's gonna take a sound system in place, something that would make this event a success. And then moving over to our park building, currently we have a fitness program in place, and we've also instituted just recently a karate class for kids. We have another karate class that we're going to introduce for younger children, and a self-defense class for women. We also want to use this multi-purpose room to host training events. We've reached out and communicated with the fire department to put on first aid classes for the community, health classes with Riverside. They want to partner with us as well. The state police have contacted us. They want to host a concealed carry class. So this is going to take equipment. It's going to take putting things in place. So we can use a projector, a screen, and a headset, and be able to put on classes that are important, that are worthwhile for the community. So those are the things. We've had 3 different sound companies meet with us this week. We've got a 4th one that we're going to also communicate with. We want to get quotes. We've also went over to the police department and to look at that. And Chief, I don't want to step on your toes. Maybe you could talk a little bit just about the statute with homicide interrogations and what's necessary.
In recording, it's become law that we're obligated to record in certain circumstances. Well, homicide would be one. Any juvenile interviews that we do would be another. And the equipment that we're looking forward to getting is going to be able to put people more at ease when we're in those situations, rather than having a camera sort of in your face situation. And we have every hope that we're going to be able to get this accomplished within this next budget year. And our goal is to achieve this so that we can be more effective in our job.
If during a crucial, critical interview, if you're interviewing a homicide suspect, for example, if that equipment were to go down in the middle of your interview, and many times this equipment does fail, and without the knowledge of the officer, that's going to put the department in a very difficult situation. I don't even need to bring up current case law in instances where this has happened. So it's crucial that the equipment is put in place. It's outdated, poor quality, and so we're looking at getting the best quotes as we can for the police department as well.
And in that regard, I know Cook County started to implement a policy on even certain types of felonies. They're wanting to have that type of thing. That could easily, if it's not in Cook County, could easily be a statewide issue at some point as well.
Generally speaking, anything that happens in Cook County winds up happening across the state, and that's where the juvenile interviews came from, being recorded essentially from there. And the same thing would be homicides. It's just an essential part of what we do now.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Under the officials' reports, K1, Trustee Pop.
Well, I'm looking at the date here, it says 6/26/13.
Yes, sir.
And it's a little frustrating for me. May I say that we've been trying to get this water rate and deposit reduction ironed out. I will say that we've had changes in administration,
Sure.
even the mayor, a lot of things going on, but I believe it's going to happen before a year. I think I said that about the sidewalk over there, and that scares me because that took 2 years longer than I said. So with that being said, I know we're working on it because I question some people.
I understand it. And just so that the public is aware, this is no easy task. Nobody wants to be the one that has to deal with bringing up the consideration for a rate increase if necessary or whatever else. I think one of the things that we've discovered, Trustee Pop, I know you're privy to this as well, that the current ordinance is not being implemented correctly. Our billing system is underbilling our minimum use users by how much per
I
payment.
don't think we even want to say it.
Well, no, it's a reality though, I mean, and it probably affects our seniors the most. DJ?
About $18 per.
So about $9 or $10 per month, basically.
So it should, and then the bill should be about $18 higher by ordinance.
And it should have been that for the last 10 years or
Set up
whatever.
in Locust, it didn't set it up correctly, configure it correctly, so for years we've been shortchanging ourselves.
Sure.
So,
So this is not just a matter of us saying we need more money, or whatever else. It's actually been underfunded by ordinance.
and by a miscue in the programming
Sure.
that was implemented, yes. So what ended up happening was, after a review with Trustee Pop on the minimum water bill, and I'm just gonna try to put a little light on this. He's been delivered the actual costs of water, and we put together what we should go after for a rate increase, and maybe make it a progressive rate increase to help with the economy. After reading the ordinance and found this issue, do we want to amend the ordinance, because the most of our minimum bills are the seniors, and if we try to carry the ordinance as such as it was written and make that correction, that implement is going to be felt more by the seniors than the general public using the water for the gallons used that we bill. So there'll probably be a redraft on the actual ordinance itself. I would probably want to recommend that, but it's up to you guys. And then we'll implement the rate increases as we see fit, so that the people that are using the water get charged the water, and the people that pay the minimum bill keep the minimum bill as such.
Sure.
And that will affect our second quarter. So that has been the delay for so long, and why it's been on his agenda, because we were working ironing the kinks out of that and how we wanted to do that. But
It's a difficult situation because, and, you know, as much as it's been difficult and it's been delayed and all that kind of thing, it's, you know, no fault to Trustee Pop, it's just simply something that nobody really wants to have to deal with, but we need to address it. So, Trustee Pop, if you have the time the next, perhaps next week sometime, you and I can sit down with Superintendent Crizell and just kind of reevaluate where we're at on all that, because I know DJ met with an engineering firm, and they made a recommendation for a stormwater specific fee, because there's issues we have in some of our subdivisions and such that are, you know, difficult. So we just need to get all that presented to the board. So, okay. Thank you, Trustee Pop.
Your Honor, I might have had two. I think Trustee Warren is satisfied. I just think it was never asked to take this up.
I actually do have a correction on that. I just got some new information this evening after I talked to you, Clerk, that we are actually working on that. So I should have some more information next time.
So do that?
I'm sorry?
Leave it on as an item?
Leave it on, yeah.
Good, that's fine. Okay. Number 3, Trustee Razor. That's fine. And by the way, thank you for pulling together the engine braking issue. So, can't hear it from my house, but it doesn't mean people in the vicinity can't. Yeah, great.
I live next to a truck stop,
Yeah, great.
or Amtrak's, working on that too.
Well, it's the contractor's job. Can't see it from my house when you're not really on that. So, no, it's important to deal with. So thank you very much on that. I did have somebody bring up to me not too long ago regarding their concerns for the issue of rental properties and some concerns of some of the things that happen with that. And I've done some preliminary research pertaining to one of the things being home rule, but not necessarily just because of that, but there is some consideration I want you guys to ponder pertaining to a landlord license, much like we have a business or contractor license. And then that would also allow us to have certain things that would be of assistance to landlords if they've got, chief, if you don't mind, regarding nuisance type ordinances sometimes implement.
There are towns all around us that have nuisance abatement ordinances, and generally speaking, it's a sort of a 3-time program where if the police department is called to your building 3 times in a row, we notify the landowner that this has happened, and that those people are now eligible to be evicted based on the fact that they're doing things that they should not be doing in that person's building.
And that actually is an assistance to the landlord, so it's not a crippling thing for landlords, it's actually, it helps them because they have to follow the local ordinance, and therefore they can pass it on to their lease agreements to the residents. So, and there's a number of factors in that regard, but I think it's something we need to evaluate. We have a number of properties that, you know, just the economy being what it is, you have people that are buying properties for rental, and that's fine. But, you know, we want to make sure that we have some precautions on behalf of the village. So I don't know if any of the trustees want to.
I've had several people in the community contact me regarding this subject, and I think they are preparing some petitions for this. As my understanding, there's a company in California that's in the process of buying properties here in Monee, and for the specific purpose of running them out as business.
Sure.
So, you know, a company in California buying property in Monee to rent out houses doesn't particularly pay a lot of attention to what's going on with that.
Right.
And I have personal experience living right here in downtown Monee with renters who recently moved out, and we went into their home and found drug paraphernalia, other things in that home that had small children in it. So I would certainly support some additional ordinances. I'll be very interested in watching this, and following this with the chief.
Okay. Trustee Holson, would you be interested in helping draft some of this or work with them?
Be happy to work with them.
Okay. So if it's all right, I'll put it on the officials report for a periodic update on that.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. You get that? Thank you. Okay. After the officials report. Anything in our old business?
Just want to mention, Mayor, that I attended the last year in the Ileana, that was done in Wilmington this last week.
Sure.
It is the next tier. They'll be making their report in April, public. Looks like it's moving along very well. When I say very well, it's moving, and it's moving very quickly. So we want to continue to pay attention and listen to that.
Sure. Okay.
On old business, I'd like to also mention that I'm under the understanding that we're digging into finally capital improvements. That we really, if we talk about economic development,
Sure.
there's some major things we need totaling in a few $1 million we need to borrow to get these projects done.
I agree.
It's very important we get it done ASAP because the money's cheap. We're losing time on that, so I bring it out in public again because it kind of, I don't want to use the word pressures, but it gets us going.
Sure.
That's something staff will be working on the budget.
There's some of that goes into that, but DJ, you had met with an engineering firm recently. If you could, what's the current interest rate? It's like 1%?
Hovering right around 2.
Okay.
And going up.
And going up, okay. It's not likely it's gonna go down because.
More than likely not, but you never know.
And we've got projects that we need to consider. If we're gonna be growing, if we're gonna be doing any of that stuff, we gotta be looking to do a second water tower that's survivable compared to the second one that we have right now. There's other infrastructure road report. I mean, what's,
What happened to our industrial?
yeah, I mean, what's the last, I know Egyptian looks terrible and everybody,
I'd like to get that report after the thaw, because we've had a lot of new roads fall apart.
but we understand that the road will get replaced, not this year, but the 2015 is the target for that. No, for Egyptian.
14 start, 15 complete. That's the way they said it.
For Egyptian?
Yeah. 14 start. Sounds kind of funny in the winter when you talk 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be until 15.
It's supposed to start the 14th.
Yeah, there'll be a secondary engineering and stuff, but, so Egyptian, everybody drives on Egyptian, they know how bad it is. But we've got streets like over by your house that, I mean, they're crumbling.
So, I mean, everything going into the Highlands is falling apart, again, like DJ said, I mean, there's nothing you can do. Their guys were out there putting rock, right, just to survive. I mean, there's no point dropping anything else to it because it's just gonna fall apart. You come into town off Gypsy Trail, anytime you go in the Highlands, no matter what street it is, it's the same way, and I'm sure it's the same as other subdivisions.
And I got people calling here yelling at me, it's like, it's like, where's your 5-year plan, where's your 10-year plan? It's like, when's the last time we've done a resurface on any of our roads, let alone Eagle Fair doesn't even have a top coat?
The last roads we did were Elder and Astor, and they aren't even traveled that much, and that was for the water.
But other than the water main related issues, like the Highlands, has it ever been resurfaced? So.
We have base coat in Eagle Fair.
Right.
It's falling apart. That
Yes.
never got-
Yeah,
So that all goes back to some of this, and just so you know, like, for instance, if we're gonna replace a water main on Margaret, if we get a grant that's water, related on that, then they also help cover some of the costs of repairing the road there then too. But that's one stretch, not some of these subdivisions that are falling apart besides the main route, so.
I'm not a road man, but I have to say, if it, another year, those streets could be undermined over there. And now we'll go from 600,000 to $1.2 million.
Yeah, so
So
I
we need to
think
fix them roads.
we need to look at a scarfing program or something like that, so.
Go back to my original point.
Yes, sir.
Can we have the staff evaluate this as part of the budgeting process and coming back to us with recommendations?
That's what I'm asking for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and we do need to have moving forward, we need to have a plan that identifies what our scarfing, resurfacing, whatever the case may be for certain roads are, because we've got subdivisions were all built about the same time, and there was not necessarily a plan on when you're gonna go through and redo some of those. And so, DJ, if you don't mind.
Part of the plan with the engineers, we're eventually meeting with them this Friday to submit an application to the EPA for new tower and well, because that process is not anything that happens overnight. So I want to get the groundwork, and you can always shoot for the stars, what you want, and retract after the fact, but we have to get the application submitted for approval. So that's going to a meeting with them on Friday to get the application process started, and at that time we'll discuss possible bonding issues, road program, cost evaluations. There's many things on the agenda that we need, infrastructure-wise, mapping of our sanitary, our water system, and to conduct a stormwater mapping on top of it. I know infrastructure, there's no glory in it, but we need to know where the stuff's at, so.
And we've had, how many water main breaks have we had just this season alone?
5 in a frozen water service,
Okay.
which we've been blessed with compared to the other times.
Sure. Okay, anything else under officials report or old business? Or new business?
I just bring up 3 things just really quickly.
Sure.
I know, Ruben, you didn't give a report tonight too, but go back to last month's meeting and started me thinking, I know obviously we're starting to work on Fall Fest already, and I think we should make sure that Darrell knows that we have sort of a budget process, and then going back to last year, I know that it was pretty much all you, but you were blessed to find dozens of volunteers. And I would encourage you to keep them in the planning process too. You've got some good pointers from them and things that the community wanted to see. And I would encourage maybe a Fall Fest committee again, like we used to have, to keep everybody involved in what they can see or help us get into Fall Fest. And then in that line too, with the budgeting package, Darrell, like a sponsorship package that we should be working on now, so we're not asking for sponsors 3 weeks before our events, whatever they may be throughout the year, so we can plan ahead of time on how much we can gain from sponsorships. And then the third thing I'm gonna bring up, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna make some enemies right here, my pet peeve. Everybody in this room, can you please turn off your cell phones? Including these people sitting up here. Until the meeting is done. And that's my 3 things for new business.
I want to go back under old business if I could. Chief, I know you were tasked with the animal issue.
Yes.
Do you have a report on that at this time? Or no?
Yes. We spoke to Animal Wellness again, and Animal Wellness is using the area that they had stored stray animals in before for animal training now, and they are unwilling to be a resource for us for dropping off strays. They also candidly admitted that they could not come close to meeting the $55 amount of money. They, Dr. Wessels in particular does not believe in putting strays down, in our ordinance. He absolutely says that that's what they have to do. There's a fundamental sort of dislike about that with her, and she does not want to do that. So she very candidly told us, no thank you, and then gave us a check for Special Olympics. So, all right. Because I know Heidi, you brought that up.
No, I didn't.
No, well, you-
I just questioned,
No,
I just
no,
wanted
right.
people to, I just
Sure.
wanted folks to know that we were, charged from for South Animal Hospital, and I wanted
Sure.
people to know what it was about.
Fine. And I just want clarification was fine. Okay, at this point, we'll turn to open to the public, non-agenda items.
I thought we had new business.
I thought we kind of.
I have something I want to bring up for next month.
Yes, sir, proceed.
I'd like to see us put on, we've talked several times about capital projects, we've talked about economic development. I mentioned in the last meeting, we still do not have a current 5-year plan for the village. I think I'd like to see that on the agenda. I'd like for us to talk about a 5 or even 10-year economic development plan.
Sure.
Which will require study. I think we should start having that discussion so that we can, number one, put it in the budget for next year.
Sure.
And secondly, determine what type of study we'd like to have.
Okay. And then put it into the budget, but also at the same time, while we're putting it into the consideration for that, seek out like CMAP or other sources for providing us grants so that we don't have to
Correct.
foot the whole bill.
Correct.
So, okay.
And
Thank
I'll
you.
follow up with you and staff on that.
That'll be great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anything else under old new business? Okay. Open to the public, non-agenda items, please limit your comments to 3 minutes, come to the podium, give your name and address, and as always, be nice.
North Snow, 25718 Shinnecock. The rental property you talked about and the nuisance ordinance, we all rent, 360 of us rent
Sure.
the land over there. We own the building, so I just want you to be careful in your wording of any ordinances. I don't want to give Sam Zell any more power than he already has.
Yeah. Understood. Okay. Anybody else?
Nancy Monster, 5640 West Laurel Lane, and I just wanted to appreciate the conversation that I heard tonight about being conservative about travel. I hear everybody's reservations to use the taxpayer money carefully when going out of town. That's a relief, the lobby day, a few years back, I know that it's only a one-day event. I know that all the municipalities surrounding, when they went down for that, they drove down and they came back the same day. But this municipality made it a 2 or 3 day event. And so I was concerned about that, at the time when it happened. I didn't know how that could be justified since I did find out it was just a 1 day event. So I was really glad to hear everybody's conservative rumblings about that. That was, the public is, there is public perception on travel, and like, we don't know everything that's being done, you wonder, you just need to justify the time spent on it. So that was nice to hear. And when you brought up Fall Fest, I know there was Fall Fair in the past, and is there any information about residual money from that nonprofit organization, where it would have gone, or if it can be rolled into the new Fall Fest?
No, it's not related to the village at all.
Yeah, we were told, no, one asked, so we got a point blank you know, so we understand that now, so that's why the village decided to take it over.
Okay, I just wondered, thanks.
Not a problem, it's a separate organization, and it's just easier for us to start fresh.
I was glad to see it happen last year. That was-
And just to clarify, there have been times in the past where I know like, Will County Governmental League and IML, or another type of event has taken place, like 2 days consecutive, so where there might have been a lobby day for one thing going on one day, there might have been a subsequent one going like the next day or something like that. So there are situations where it's more prudent to stay overnight in a situation than drive back and forth both days, especially when you're talking, depends on who's driving, 2 to 3 hours each way, so. Anyhow, but yes. Anybody else? Okay. We've already gone through executive session, and at this point, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Sorry.
Gonzalez and Raisik. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gray?
Yes.
Holston? Yes. Warren? Yes. Pop?
Yes.
Grayson? Yes. And
Yes.